Did Paul really tell women to be silent in church? Hi, everybody. My name is Robyn Walsh. I'm a scholar of New Testament and early Christianity and part of Paths in Biblical Studies. And so I'm referring here to the first letter to the Corinthians and specifically a passage in chapter 14. I have my study Bible open here, and it's usually just listed as verses 14, 34 through 36. And actually, in this study Bible, they are in parentheses, and I'll explain why in a second. And the reason I hesitate on this a little bit is that there are usually footnotes, if you do have a study Bible, that tell you that some of these lines, especially verses 34 and 35, are sometimes in ancient sources actually placed at the very end of this chapter. And this chapter ends in verse 40, so they would be placed after that. But what the passage says that, and I'll just read you the NRSV translation, as in all the churches of the saints, so ecclesiae of the saints, women should be silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be subordinate, as the law also says. If there is anything they desire to know, let them ask their husbands at home. For it is shameful for a woman to speak in church. Or did the word of God originate with you? Or are you the only ones it has reached? Okay, so that's the passage in question. What's going on with this? There are, I would say, three scholarly theories as to what's going on. And let me give you some context first, especially with these last lines. Did the word of God originate with you, or are you the only ones it reached? In context, what's going on here is Paul's talking about the spiritual gift of speaking in tongues. And he mentions that there are many people within the Corinthian group that seem to be doing this. The implication may be that women are doing it quite a bit as well. And it seems like it's maybe gone overboard, that people are claiming to have a certain amount of wisdom or spiritual enrichment or worth because of their ability to demonstrate this possession by the Spirit and ability to speak in tongues. Consequently, though, a lot of people aren't able to interpret or understand what these people are saying when they speak in tongues. And so Paul gives a number of recommendations. One is that you limit yourself to 2 or 3 people when you're going to participate in this kind of divination activity, if you want to call it that, or spiritual activity, pneumatic activity. Another is making sure that you have as many people cultivating being able to interpret the tongues being spoken, especially if they are prophecy or revelation, or again, some kind of divination, some kind of connection to the deity. What good is it if you are able to speak in tongues, but nobody can understand you? He makes a really kind of interesting analogy to musical instruments. Unless you know how to play a musical instrument and play strategic notes in a way that you can interpret as music, otherwise it just sounds like a mess. You're just blowing into a horn, right? And so he wants people to cultivate the other side of this equation in terms of being able to interpret what's going on. And the implication is that maybe people are showing off. Maybe there are some people speaking in tongues in order to sound like they are spiritually gifted, when really they might just be kind of posturing or looking for status in a way that's not productive, or maybe unappealing in a certain way, or driving people away from the group. So that appears to be the context. Now, what about this passage where otherwise, think about Galatians 3:28. Paul is talking about a more egalitarian view of the world. He seems to be very inclusive of women, generally speaking, in his letters. He'll talk to women and men as having positions in the church. And so it seems a little strange that all of a sudden he is otherwise kind of egalitarian, and then all of a sudden he's saying, women need to be silent. So, what are the strategies? One is kind of back to the context. Maybe Paul is just saying in this particular discrete instance, if women are involved in some kind of posturing or status seeking through the speaking of tongues, they really need to settle down. And I hate to use that kind of language, but I mean settle down in terms of just kind of settle that sort of frenetic activity down, cultivate other kinds of skills, again, like interpreting tongues, limit the number of people who are there when this kind of display goes on, or, look at yourselves and make sure you're doing this for spiritual and correct reasons, not for social reasons. So it could just be popping off a quip telling, just be quiet, instead of really kind of methodically working through the problem, or seeing it as a quick solution to a problem. Meh. That could be one. Another is possibly that this is what's called an interpolation, that somebody had Paul's letters later on, in a later, let's say, second century context, and felt that they needed to include this because maybe something was going on in their own church group, their own Christ group, where they wanted women to be silent. Maybe there's some people refer to this as the domesticating of Paul. Maybe they wanted to kind of quiet down the degree to which women are having uh, positions of authority within the church. And this is one of them. This is one way that they obtain authority. And so there was kind of a more global effort to make sure women are put back into their place by trading off of Paul's authority and interpolating, putting in this false passage into one of Paul's letters to make it a directive from an authority figure, in this case, Paul. A third option might be that some of this, again, is correct and was original to Paul, or maybe just a couple of lines have been misunderstood or redirected somewhere else in the letter. There's actually a really interesting book on this. It's from 1990, so it's quite old now, but by a scholar named Antoinette Clark Wire, and I do recommend it. It's called The Corinthian Women Prophets, a reconstruction through Paul's rhetoric, where she looks at what might have been going on socially, culturally, and also in the case of women in Corinth in the period in which Paul would be writing to Corinth. And one thing I really like about the book is that she does go through in an appendix, goes through this passage and talks about the history of scholarship on how this has been interpreted. And there's also a section that I find really interesting. The very back, women who speak for the divine, selected text from the early empire. And it really is just a collection of other examples from the greater Greco-Roman world, from something like the Sibyls, Virgil, Ovid, Pausanias, Dionysius, Philo, just glancing through it, Josephus, of other cases of women in particular being a voice for the divine or interpreting the divine, speaking for the divine, and having these kinds of experiences. So it gives us, again, more context for what might be going on in this passage. Do I think Paul said it? It's quite possible. And in that case, it would be maybe that first option that I gave you. It's also possible that maybe it's not fully an interpolation, kind of leaning towards the third option that I just briefly discussed, that maybe some lines are original, have been displaced or kind of shuffled around. It does seem a little bit unlike Paul in the grand scheme of things, but maybe in Corinth itself, this was such a problem. He gives so many other recommendations for how to speak in tongues correctly, but it doesn't sound like it's just women in the rest of that particular chapter and the rest of the letter. So I hate to be a little non-committal, but it is hard to say. I think if he did say it, if I were to expect it somewhere, I would expect it in the letter to the Corinthians. This is not the only problem the Corinthians are having. So it does kind of make a measure of sense within that letter itself. All right. So talking about interpolation, other biblical issues, history of scholarship, this is what we do over at the Biblical Studies Academy. So go to bartehrman.com/BSA learning to check us out and debate these issues. Again, that's bartehrman.com/BSA learning.